Good morning and welcome back to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT. We're the quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. So as you know, if you've been following this program, that half-penny generates about $450 million a year. The bulk of that goes to Miami-Dade County, but a little over 20% is distributed to all of our 34 municipalities for them to use in promoting transportation and transit projects in their various cities. So with me today is one of those city representatives. We have Scott Mendelsberg. Scott is the finance director of the great city of Sweetwater. Scott, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Javier. It's great to be here.
And so the city of Sweetwater, for those who don't know where it is or don't know much about it, tell us a little bit about the city.
Where is it? It's kind of centrally located, western Miami-Dade County, Flagler Street. Yeah. Just could take it west from downtown, and you go about 10 miles, and you're going to hit Sweetwater. Mm-hmm. Sweetwater used to be about a 1 square mile. Yeah. It was, A Street to Flagler, and 102nd Avenue to 110th or 12th, and a little bit north of Flagler. And so a little bit over a square mile. And in about 2010, the city annexed a large portion of unincorporated area near the Dolphin Mall. And in 2020, it annexed another portion west of the Turnpike where the Beacon Lakes warehouses are, and the Top Golf and a big Home Depot, and a new transit-oriented development is opening up there called Upland. Yeah. It's going to have eventually 1,800 units. I think the first 500 or so have been already built and are starting to be leased out.
Right, and that's in the city proper?
That is in the city. It's called part of Annex Area 2, but it is Sweetwater. So if you think you're going to Top Golf Corral, you're actually going to Top Golf Sweetwater. Right.
So you're essentially nestled in between Dolphin Mall and FIU, the two major employment centers, two major hubs.
Correct.
Excellent.
And FIU is driving everything that's going on in the city of Sweetwater because developers want to be next to FIU. Yeah.
So historically, I would say, you could disagree if you want, the city of Sweetwater has kind of been a quiet town and a bedroom community, but it has really evolved in these recent years because of all of that. Its proximity to FIU.
Yeah, it was definitely a bedroom town. It was 90% residential and 10% commercial. Yeah. Now it's 90% commercial and 10% residential.
The tax base or like?
The tax base.
Wow.
Tax base,
yes. Well, that's going to be very helpful given potential property tax reform coming up. We'll talk about that. But tell us what the city does with its share of the half-penny sales tax.
Well, the city gets a little over $800,000 a year in the half-penny sales tax, and we use the majority of it for our trolley service, over half. And that trolley is something we're working on now. I have hired a consultant who used to work for the Department of Transportation and Public Works, and so he's very experienced, and he's had experience in municipal trolley systems in the city of Miami and in Coral Gables. So we're doing a deep dive into our ridership to figure out not just how many riders we have, but where are they getting on and where are they getting off? Right. Where are they going? And what services are we providing that are being duplicated by FIU, the city of Doral, and this county? Because there are a lot of routes on Flagler Street and a lot of routes on 107th Avenue, many of which are going into FIU. So we're trying to get rid of some of that duplication, and once we know who's getting on where and what, we'll be able to do some of that and maybe expand out to Upland, where you have all that new residential property being developed across from a new Costco, so they can walk across the street to the Costco.
You'll want to launch a podcast, but you got no clue how or where. C News TV makes it easy. Choose from one of our 4 podcast studios, Studio A, B, C, or D. We provide the professional space, the equipment, the crew, the know-how, and even a host if you need one. Book a studio now at sales@cnews.net.
But there's no trolley service there yet if they wanted to go to Dolphin Mall. And so we're looking at perhaps doing that.
Gotcha. Yeah, the idea is for the municipal systems to complement the county, not compete with them, right?
Right.
And work together seamlessly.
Right. And so there's an awful lot of service the county's providing on Flagler Street, 107th Avenue, and 7th Street that we would rather not duplicate. And before we eliminate anything, we want to figure out exactly where people are getting on and off. Right. We do go a little bit outside the city to the Walmart on Flagler. And so if that ridership continues, we'll continue to support it. But we want to make sure we've just had the trailer park that is emptied out and will be refilling over the next few years, but our trolley goes through that. So if people are no longer getting on there because there's no longer living there, then maybe we would not have that stop until those new units are built.
And I think you're uniquely positioned, you and the mayor of Sweetwater, frankly. You both have a county background. Mayor is Jose Pepe Diaz, who used to be a county commissioner for many years. And you, I believe, worked in many different departments at the county. So you understand how a municipal body and the services it provides fits into that larger regional system.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was actually the budget analyst for transit in the years that the half-penny sales tax passed, and worked on the original pro forma with Myra Bustamante and Danny Alvarez and all those people. And I rode Metro Rail for years when I worked downtown. I don't have a lot of bus service near me, but so I'm a transit supporter, and I think the best that we can do is use our money for trolley service, and maybe if some point we learn about an on-demand profile that works for us or something. But we're just trying to figure out where people are going and where we can provide better service.
Sure.
Everything from, the buses themselves, as my consultant has pointed out, the trolleys are very attractive, but they're not very comfortable when you sit on them for long periods of time. So should we keep this kind of transportation, or should we have a bus that's easier for some of the older people to get on and provides a more comfortable ride? Those are the types of things we're going to look at, because we want to make the trolley service really, really work for the current residents and what is going to be 20,000 more residents in the next probably decade.
And one of the things I think we do well at the CITT is connect people so that you can learn from each other. So I know we have regular meetings with all of the municipalities and all the different transportation agencies, so that you all can learn from each other and see what's working, what isn't. And I know some cities have done that. They've moved or have always had a more traditional bus than these trolley vehicles. So just encourage you, if you haven't already, to reach out to them to see how.
Well, that's what we're doing, and we're looking at what everybody else is doing. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. If it works for somebody else, maybe it'll work for us, along with better signage. We don't really have the signage we need up there, so we've come up with a sign that has our QR code on it, so you can scan it right there and get directly to the trolley tracker. Instead of having to go through the county app and figure out where it is on that, it'll take you directly to it. And co-branding the signs with Doral and Sweetwater have some overlapping routes at the Dolphin Mall on 107th Avenue.
Which is great, by the way, because that encourages connectivity.
But we've met with them, and they've given us their sign design, and we have our sign design, and we're going to figure out a way on the joint stops to put them both there. So instead of having 2 poles and 2 signs, we'll have 1 pole and 2 signs.
Less cluttered streets.
Exactly.
That's great.
And getting up the signs for ours, because right now our riders are depending upon the memory, I guess, of the driver to stop at those stops, because there are no signs up.
There are none. Okay.
There are none. But we're not. I've got the signs. We're going to order them, but I don't want to start putting them up until we've done our route, so that we don't, get people to think this is a stop. But it's all towards getting the interlocal agreement with the county, which is required by the ordinance for fixed route service. And I guess the city had never done this years and years ago, and it kind of fell through the cracks. And we want to keep our money, we want to keep our service. So if they want to make us do an ILA and all that, we're in the middle of doing it. And we're sitting with, I guess, Linda Morris helping us. And
shout out to Linda. She does a great job over there at the county.
And we're at that stage. And we interface with Mariana Price all the time.
Shout out to Mariana, of course,
so
our municipal program manager.
And, working with the DTPW staff to figure out how to get this working.
Excellent. So let's shift gears a little bit, pun intended, to other types of transportation projects. You said you spend over 50% on transit, but presumably you spend some on other types of transportation, roadway.
We've done some roading.
Bike ped, any of that?
We haven't done any bike pedestrian. We're going to try and do a bike pedestrian master plan.
Right.
We just have so much going on in the old central core. Everything north of Flagler Street in the residential area, which is where the Little Abner Trailer Park was built. That 100 acres is kind of being master planned, and so while we're working on that, we're trying to figure out what to do with the old city south of Flagler Street and between that and A Street, and that's where the pedestrian and the bike path and the stuff like that's going to come in. But it's a challenge,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking of challenges, so you are the finance director for the city. You obviously have a financial background. All of this takes money, and as it is, there's not as much as we need to accomplish what is required, right? And now we're facing potential, what they call property tax reform at the state level. I'm sure there will be a special session at some point this year to tackle that. I imagine you're concerned about that. So, what would the impact be? And obviously it depends on what passes, but just assume, the middle case scenario.
I'll assume the worst case. I've already
assumed the worst. So what would the impact be?
The worst case scenario
like
for Sweetwater is about $700,000. We only have 1,700 homesteaded property taxpayers.
And that's because now we're so
commercial.
Commercial, which makes all the difference in the world.
In Annex Area 2, which is the Dolphin Mall area, and Annex Area 3, there was no residential until just now across from our building department on 110th Avenue. There are about 500 units being built, and then the upland, the transit-oriented development taking place west of the Turnpike. So all of that is commercial. None of it is residential, and certainly not homesteaded.
So you're in a much better position than the city was a little while ago. And those impacts, while $700,000 isn't chump change, I mean, that's about the equivalent of what you get in Halfpenny.
Yeah.
You're not. It wouldn't be as dire as maybe some other smaller cities.
The city has strong reserves. Our charter used to require a 30% reserve.
Yeah.
We have very strong reserves, and we have money in the bank, and we have impact fees and transportation stuff because of the development that's been happening that we will be able to hopefully spend on the infrastructure that we want. We are hoping against hope that we can create a community redevelopment agency in the old city of Sweetwater. We're working with a consultant to do the finding of necessity and develop the plan if the county will let us. I think it's a ripe area that the redevelopment is happening, and we just want to make sure that it's done right.
Sure.
And we need a lot of streets and infrastructure and sidewalks and things like that in the old area of the city that, the two new annex areas, they're brand new. They look beautiful. The streets and sidewalks are done correctly. But in the historical old area of the city, excluding Little Abner, which will be redone, we need to work on it.
Yeah. If you had a magic wand and you could make one thing happen at the city of Sweetwater from a transportation mobility perspective, what would it be? Would it be the east-west corridor? Would it be,
No, it would be
tell me.
It would be the 112th Avenue Bridge.
Yeah, okay.
The city is very, I'd say, landlocked because to go from Flagler Street, the northern residential properties, to Southwest A Street to get to FIU, there's only two ways. You either go 107th Avenue or 109th. There is not another cut through from Flagler Street to 8th Street until you get west of the Turnpike. Oh. 112th stops at Southwest 7th Terrace, which is north of the canal. And so we are working with the county to get some of the mobility impact fee money. Tens of millions of dollars have been generated in Sweetwater recently to do the design.
Right.
And the county has agreed to do that. We have a joint participation agreement that the city has passed, that the county attorney's office, I was just told, signed off on the other day. So if we can get that and we can get the design done, we could have the developer of the Little Abner property pay for the redoing of 112th Avenue and the construction of that bridge. And it's not to make a big, busy thoroughfare, but it's to be able to get the people who currently live in that neighborhood out. Because east of them is where all the high-rise development is coming, and north of them is where, 5,000 plus units of Little Abner will be built.
Gotcha.
And so if we want to be able to get out of the city during rush hour, we need one more bridge and another road.
So it seems like the challenge there is primarily financial at this point. There isn't like a lot of controversy or
it's
environmental
it's not
issues,
as much as a financial challenge as it is coordinating everybody, because the developer of Little Abner is going to be responsible for tens of millions of dollars worth of transportation and mobility impact fees, transportation impact fees to the city, and realizes that project needs to be done. And what's also exciting is that the new FIU bridge being built by the state to replace, unfortunately, what happened many years ago, should make the traffic on 8th Street flow better, because you'll no longer have the students walking across at grade. Yeah. And that will open it up a little bit, because you won't have that, slowdown for people going east-west. But for north-south, it's not much of a delay, because right now they're going on the east side and avoiding the traffic anyways.
Gotcha. So So, Scott, if people want to learn more about what's going on in Sweetwater, where should they go? What's the website?
cityofsweetwater.fl.gov, and it's probably, if you just Google it, come right up to our webpage, and look at our calendar. We're having some public meetings about the trolley.
Excellent.
Haven't been very well attended yet, but we're hoping. We give out the surveys on the trolley, and we give out the information, letting them know when we're having our public meetings. But as our consultant said, maybe unless we tell them we're taking away the service,
that's when you get the pitchforks.
That's when we'll get the pitchforks. But we really want to find out where people are going, so that we don't eliminate any service that people are depending upon. But if we can have fewer stops and shorter headways, we think the riders will benefit.
Sure. Well, Scott, listen, that's all the time we have.
Okay.
And I want to thank you for being a guest on my program, and thank you for your career in public service, both at the county and city of Sweetwater. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoyed being here.
Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank our partners in this, Miami's community newspapers, for hosting and producing the program. Please continue to stay tuned to Mobility Matters. We have some wonderful guests lined up over the coming weeks. If you want to learn more about us at the CITT, visit our website, miamidade.gov/CITT. In the meantime, keep moving, Miami.